Welcome back, guys. We're back up at Mum's working on the boat. Today is hatch building time. We're just about to start building. I got my mate Hamish here. Hamish is a horrible builder, but he had the tools. He's here helping me. We're going to do one because Hamish and I are just rookies at this. We're going to do one, work out how to do it properly, and then we're going to talk you through the rest. For starters, we're just going to see how this plays out. Pretty simple process, hopefully. We just got to make sure that it's close to perfect as possible so that the least amount of water gets in when these hatches are built. Let's get started. So we just finished our first hatch. It took us about an hour and a half. 2 hours. Took us 2 hours. This is it here. We just wanted to see what sort of clearance we were getting around each side. But this is what it looks on the bottom. We've got 9mm pine on 9mm marine ply. And we've just tacked those in. That's got to be, we've got to epoxy it and then tacked in. But we're just getting the lay of the land for the first one. That's what it's going to look like. Finished product. Looks pretty neat. Hopefully we get neater as we go. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 hatches to go. So this is our runners here. First of all, you measure it from your maximum width. So from that board there to that board there. And then you want a 4mm gap all around. So take 8mm off the total. So we'll measure from there. So that's 440. 440. And this one is 439. And we've got a bit of a SKIFF in our boat because I built it. This end is 396. And this end is 3... Gee, I wish we had one that was actually straight. And this end is 393. Yeah. And then we're going to draw it on our 9mm ply and cut it out with the old Makita. That's really hot. I thought rule number 1 was don't leave it in the sun.
Well, who was the last to use it?
So what was that one? 436.
Okay.
436. And then what was this one?
389. Mark it. Just do one line. Don't go back. That's enough.
Let me decide how many lines I do, Hamish.
No, let go. Let go. Let go. I'll ruler, you mark.
Well, you got to go that side of the line a bit, so
no,
pencil bit.
You go on the line.
Next
Done.
step.
That is it.
Next step is to mark up the lines, which we just did. Then grab your circular saw. And you want your safety glasses for this.
Stop. Can you stop? And wait.
Oh, I was going perfect too.
No, you weren't. Obviously. You There you go.
So once it's cut out, thank you. Write FB on there for front of boat. Oh, that's pretty damn sexy. Don't worry if it's a really snug fit because you can always sand it back a bit later, but you can't add on wood. So just cut out our second one. Just checking the gaps. How's it looking on that side? Right, so this is the 9x9mm. We're just measuring it up on each individual side. And then we've got some 18mm screws. And we'll flip her over. Ham dog lines it up. Is it flush?
No, not yet.
Is it flush?
No, not yet.
Is it flush?
No, not yet.
It's a flush.
Bang, go.
And then just whack a little 18mm, 6G 18mm screw. We're just tacking them in for now and then I'm going to glue them up all tomorrow. We're just going to get all the pieces cut out today. So just put 2 screws, 1 in each end. There we go, that's 1 done. Grab your next length of 9x9.
Is that 9?
Yep.
Oh, you piece of shit.
There we go. Next one. Line her up, ham dog. Line her up, big fella. Is it flush?
Bang, go. Nope.
Is that all of them?
Yep.
Stick her in. Oh my goodness. Are we good at this or what? Second one done. Morning, had a massive day yesterday. Got a lot done, went fishing in the morning, so I went from like 3 o'clock till 10 o'clock editing and it was massive and I'm so sore and tired today. We got a lot done yesterday, super happy. Got another big day today, which I'm dreading. It's got to be done, so we got to get into this. I'll show you what we got up to yesterday. So with Hamish yesterday, we got all the hatches cut out. We had to use 2 sheets because it wouldn't all cut out with 1 sheet, so that's why they're 2 different colours. But it's all marine ply. All we did is measured from the outermost part there all the way to the outermost part there on all 4. And then you take 6 mil, so you give yourself 3 mil play because we've got rubber going in. Cut it out, and then it was as simple as just getting your 9 mil ply, putting it across, measure, cut, putting it across, measure, cut, putting it across, measure, cut. Then we just tack them all in, just with little 18 mil screws. My job today is to take out those 18 mil screws, epoxy the other side, and then tack them so they're right. And then once that's done, then sand them up, clean them up, and put them back in. So big job today, removing all the screws, epoxying, and then re-screwing. We just did that because we wouldn't have time to cut it all out in one day, and it was Hamish's tools we were using, so he had to go to work today. So that's what we're gonna do. We're about to get stuck into this. Just need a pencil. I swear I saw a pencil here yesterday. Here we go. This is the front of the boat laid out, left to right. We've got them here. So I'll flip them over. We did one piece first, and then followed suit after that. So the first piece we did was obviously the full length one, and then so on and so forth, and the one that just fits in, that's the last one. So we want to glue them on in the same order so we get the same sort of thing going. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the order I've got to glue them in. Do the same to this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the last one. 1, 2. No, that's totally wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4. Couldn't even get that simple job right. But we finished that, right? So that's that. Next step you want to do, flip them all over. And then you want to take them all out. But you want to leave them in their order so you know how they go back in. There's those 2 screws. That's alright, once you got all the screws out. So you want to take them all out, leave it the same way up, but just put it out like that because you're going to put glue on it, put it back underneath, and then screw into the same holes to tack them back in again once the glue's on. I'm doing a fair few at a time because I'm not sure how much one batch of glue is going to cover, so I want to make sure that none of the glue's going to waste. Once they're all out, next step, mix up a batch of glue. What are you doing? Hey? This is a workstation, Summer. So same process, your epoxy resin, 2-part, and we're just going to do the smallest batch possible. Plastic cutlery to do your mixing. Grab your 105. Just going to do the smallest batch possible. Measurements need to be correct. Your 206 hardener. Mix that up, put it in your container. You want to do this early morning or late afternoon because it sets way too quickly. Yesterday was 38 degrees when we were doing this. Micro blend, same consistency as the coving. Adding little bits at a time so you don't get it lumpy. Yeah, still a bit runny. So once you got your glue mixed up, look for your number 1. It's number 2, number 3, number 1. So when you grab number 1, make sure you put it on the right side. Butter it on just like so. As quickly and as neatly as possible. Fill all the gaps. That's looking pretty good to me. Grab your drill, stick her underneath, grab your screw. And it should go into the same holes that it was already in. That's why I wanted to do them this way yesterday. Number 2, grab some more glue, put that in. 2, number 3. One done. Then we're going to come and remove all the excess, but we're going to keep going until we run out of glue. So we just finished all of them. I'm just going to grab a scraper. So I'm just going to neaten them up, especially the insides, because they're going to be extremely hard to sand. Get your scraper in there. Remove all that glue from the inside. The outside's not that much of an issue because we're going to be sanding it anyway. But just to get rid of some of the excess. So that's one done. Once you got a nice even layer on all of that, it's probably a bit much, I don't want to slow down. Show you a little trick that I've learnt. Push that on so it's flush, put it down, grab 3 screws, go in slowly and it should find the hole that you made previously. There we go. And then a little trick I learnt. Line it up so you know that you're putting it in the right way. It's the wrong way. There you go, it's the right way. Grab this, and with your top section, you want to just run that along there and collect that excess. Collect that excess. And then whatever you don't have on the end, just whack it on. Done. Now you want to go around, fill all the holes. Really jam it in there. Morning. I managed to get to the stage yesterday of epoxying all the holes in. It was good, I didn't expect to get through all that. Took all the screws out that were holding it in and then filled it with epoxy. So I just got to sand them back today. And then what I did yesterday was I went around, I checked all the clearances around all the hatches, and anywhere that I thought that it might need to be sanded back a little bit more than just your touch up, I put arrows. So this 2 arrows meant that I have to do that whole thing just to give it a little bit more clearance. 2 arrows, a little bit more clearance on that one. 1 arrow here, which means it just needs a little bit more clearance on this end of the hatch. I'll tidy all these up and then I'll take them out individually and sand the outsides and neaten them all up. Ready to start working on where the hinges are going to go. Get stuck into it this morning and try and get these hatches to the point where I don't have to touch them anymore, which would be awesome. So I've got a couple of jobs on the list of things to do, but the first job on this, we've epoxy resined all this, coated it, and we've got capping going on it. We've got 2 levels of capping going on here and 1 on here. I'll show you what I mean as I go, but we've actually got to not take it off, but just rough it up so the next layer of epoxy can stick to it. So I've already started, I've done 1, but just get, what's this, 80 grit. And you just want to take off that top level so it's got a little bit to stick to. As you can see, it's all scratched up. We've got all these sections to do because all this has to be capped. As you can see, some of them are a little bit lower than others. So I've got to beef that up a little bit. Like this one's a prime example. It sits a bit low because we cut it lower before. I've just got a little bit of 20 by 4 mil, and I've cut it in half, so we only got 10 mil by 4 mil. And I'm going to stick that on top of the low sections with the epoxy. Mix up really thick batch, stick it on. So I've got to rough up all this section. And then on top of the other sections that don't need the extra little bit of capping, so I'm going to put this on tonight, all the low sections, and then tomorrow I'll do all of it with, I've already cut them out. It's a 12 by 12 mil. So this will go on all of it using the epoxy, and then tack it on, and then remove the tacks, and then sand it back to however much you want on there. After all the hatches are in, we'll go over it with the belt sander at Jamie's and take it back so that the whole deck sits flush. So that's, yeah, 12 by 12 mil. Got that to stick on, so I'll epoxy that and then tack it in with some screws, and then remove the screws, epoxy over the holes, and then belt sand it back. So first step, just start taking off the top layer. Not taking it, just roughing up. That's all scuffed up. Next job, mix up a batch of epoxy. I've also got little bits and pieces that I've marked out on the wood that I need to fix up, like these little cracks and stuff like that. So I'm going to lay them down. So I'm going to do them at the same time. So those little holes that'll need to be fixed. Mix it up. You guys already know how to do this because I've been doing it for the last 10 days. Here we go. So a little bit of 20 mil by 4 mil. I've cut it in half using a little hacksaw. I do not have the right tools at Mum's place, but we may do. You can always sand it back later. Put your cream cheese down. There you go. Cream cheese down. Lay it down. Push it down. So that's even. Alright, one done. On to the next one. So I tried tacking them in, but the wood just cracks because it's too thin. So we're not tacking. We're just going to put stuff heavy on them if they're not sitting right. So they're tacked. Finish off these holes before it goes off. Scraping off the excess is a lot easier than sanding. So make sure you do it. So that's our first little cappers. We're going to let that dry overnight. So I've only done the 3 points that were the lowest. The rest of it's all just going to get straight 12 mil on top. I've already scuffed up the edges for the 12 mil. I also want to scrape up the excess down here. There we go. Happy with that. The rest is going to have to wait for the morning. Right guys, jumping straight back into it this morning. These are all dry and firm. I've already done one, but we've got 80 grit, no, this is 40 grit. 40 grit sandpaper, and we're just going to clean up what we glued in last night. So take it all flush. There's little bits down here. Doing the top on this side because it's a little bit, it was a little bit up. So, but we're doing the sides. We're just doing the sides, taking them back so they're flush. And that's why we're using the 40 grit. Just done that one. I've got this one to do and that one. Once they're done, we're back into epoxying and finishing off the capping. There we go, that's all finished. So the next job is get your 12 mil. I'm gonna cut it to length. So this is going on all the capping, except for the edges. So we're doing this one, these middle ones, and those ones, and this middle one here. But we're not doing the edges because the edges are going to have a bumper rail that overhangs. So we're going to cut a capping into the bumper rail. Next job is to cut all your lengths of 12 mil. Get your hacksaw. This is what I've been using to do all my cutting lately. Found it in Mum's garage. Perfect, there's one. So we're going to mix up another batch of epoxy to start capping these things off. Mix it up. Start pouring your filleting powder in. These ones we're going to tack in. So we need we'll grab those stainless steel screws that we pulled out of all the hatches. Once we've done that, might be easier just to put it straight down onto here first. quickly, got to do this. Should have 2 people doing this. Grab your stainless steel screws. Right, that's on. That was a lot trickier than I anticipated it to be. I'm just removing the glue now. This one just wanted to crack every time I put a screw in it, whereas the other one didn't. I'm not sure why. Not sure whether it was the grain of wood or what. Did it with my fingers. Hopefully it pushes everything into the gaps. Fills up all the gaps. I think it's gone on relatively straight. Yeah, pretty happy with that. Then you want to go around and fill in all your holes. Done. Remove some of the excess around the corners because they're hard to sand. The rest will be pretty straightforward. Sensational. And that's it for tonight. So we're back at it again this morning. Went fishing this morning. Nothing happened. Come back to mum's. Clean up the boat. A lot of sanding involved. The job today is pretty much neaten up all this. So I've got on 80 grit. And I'm just taking away all the epoxy that is left over that I put on last night. And then the next job will be to fit out the last 4 hatches with their lids and make sure that they're all fitting with the hinges on them. That 40 grit sandpaper will be used to clean up the hatches and giving us a couple of extra millimeters either side. And then mark out what we need to take off with the planer when we go to Jamie's, not next week or the week after, to fiberglass. Pretty excited that we're rushing through this. A lot of sanding today. I'm really over sanding. My nose is completely covered full of sawdust. Can't wait for this day to be over, but we've got a little way to go. You guys know how to take the epoxy off. Just like that. So I got to do all of them. Let's get it done. Alright, so we just removed all the leftover epoxy. I missed one hole. Can't believe it. Check it out, guys. I just finished my first hatch. Look at that. So pumped about that. Pretty stoked. And now that I finally worked out how to do it, I can show you guys what to do, because that was a bit of a muck around for me. I'm going to have the hinge butts sticking up, which won't be too much of a problem, to be honest, because once marine foam goes down, you won't even feel them walking over the deck. A little bit tight in some spots, like here and along here, so we'll have to sand those back so that the rubber fits in and makes this watertight. Now that I know what I'm doing, first step is grab your multi-tool sander. I got 40 grit on there, and the first job is we got to remove all the excess overhang. Because it was 9mm ply and we've put 12 by 12mm capping, there's 3mm overhang. So we've got to go around and remove all that and get it all flush. Once that's done, then we can work out what parts need to be chocked, like here. So I've worked out that I need a little chock in that side. So I'll stick one of them in there, sand it back till it's the right width. That side's all right, so that won't need a chock. Haven't checked this one because I'm gonna have to remove all the coat, all the excess around these sides. First job, remove all the excess, and then we can work out which hinges need chocks and which ones don't. And then I can show you how to do that. So let's get into it. So I've just finished off my second hatch. She's a little bit snug, but that's all right because we're just trying to get the hinges lined up at the moment. So I'm showing you how I'm doing it. Pull these out. So you want to make sure your hatch fits, first of all. It's a little high on that side, which is a bit of a bummer. I think it's because of this section here. I've tried to take it down a bit. Once it's flush with the deck, check that your hinges fit. So I've marked out 50 mil from in from each side. So there's one that fits there like that. Second one, I think the second one's a bit snug. That's alright. So your hinges fit, take them out. Grab a couple of your stainless steel screws. So grab your hinge. That's closed, so open it up and fit it so it's sitting at 90 on the bend. Then you want to grab one stainless steel screw. Put your battery in the drill. It's a good start. And you just want to mark the center of where you're going to put that. That's in. I'm sorry guys, it's a bit hard to film. But then you want to screw that in. We're just doing the middle hole. That's probably a tiny bit too low, but that's alright. Then grab your second one. Same thing. Put it there. Put it on 90. Between your two marks. That one's a little better. This one's sitting a bit low. There we go, it's better. They're both sitting at the same height. You're only going to do the middle hole. Next step, check if it fits. Still fits, beautiful. You also want to grab one more screw and put it in as a lifter. While it's down there, grab your pencil and you want to just mark the end of the mark where the hinges are going to go. Lift her out. So where those marks are that you've made, continue them down so you can see them. You want to take your time with this and make sure you get them both lined up really well. So you want to lift it up, don't do it at the bottom. You want to lift it up so it's sitting at the same height as the hinge. So we might chuck some stuff underneath, so let's try and jack it up a bit. Because it's really tricky to do it one person. Yeah, that'll do. So we've got a bit of foam. There's one. So close. That's going to fit too. We managed to do that perfectly first go. I got myself a little bit of 3 mil rubber, put it underneath and then screwed them in. It was a bit hard to film and do that at the same time. That's what we've come up with. And doesn't close. What I've been doing with the last couple is this ridge in here. Grab your sander, put a battery in it. What you want to do is just take that ridge off and hopefully take that ridge off, and if you have to, take a little bit of that ridge off. Ah, perfect. And this one was always going to be a bit tight. Anyway, you get the drift. And then, if you have to, just take a little bit more off the edge, or this edge, and just keep going until she fits. You get the drift. I nailed it with the first two. I probably should have filmed that. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. So just do your screw hole in the middle, and then leave the other two free. Then you have a starting point for when she's all finished. Pretty happy with how she's going. Nearly got all three done. Done. Jam it in there. Now I won't be able to open it. I've got 2 more to do today, and then I'll just tidy the boat up. Ready to go and get fiberglass. So I just finished all the hatches, putting the, oh, some of them are a bit tight, my bad. Just finished all the hatches. Put all the hinges on the inside ones. The outside ones have to wait until the fiberglassing's done and the bumper rail's added, because the bumper rail will cover that and the hinges will attach to the bumper rail. We got one last job to finish this afternoon, and that is to sand down this middle section so it's flush. Around the hinges, won't have to worry, they should already be fitting flush, but on the boxes, I'll show you. This is the foam that's going to be around all of it. It's about this thick, so I've put them around the corners to get the actual height, and I'm going to stand up on the top, put a little bit of pressure down on them, not too much that it squashes the foam, but just a little bit of pressure, and then go over it with the sander with some 40 grit sandpaper. And this is the last job. Oh, and then I've got a couple more holes that I'm going to fill with epoxy, sand it back tomorrow morning, and then she's ready for a fiberglass whenever Jamie's ready. Well, that's it for another weekend at Mum's. Boat is just about, well, boat's done as much as I can do. The next step is to get it fiberglassed at Jamie's place. I'll keep you updated, and I'll see you whenever Jamie's ready to give it a fiberglass. Hopefully soon. Let's get it on the water.